page number 251, chapter number 13, the Government of India Act 1935. While the Congress was in thick of battle, the Third Roundtable Conference, held in London in November 1932, once again without the leaders of the Congress, its discussion eventually led to the passing of the Government of India Act 1935. The Act provided for the establishment of All India Federation and a new system of government for the provinces on the basis of provincial autonomy. The federation was to be based on a union of provinces of British India and princely states. There was to be bicameral federal legislature in which the states were given proportionate weightage. Moreover, the representatives of the states were not to be elected by the people but appointed directly by the rulers. Only 14% of the total population in British India was given the right to vote. Even this legislature, in which the princes were once again to be used to check and counter the nationalist elements, was denied any real power. Defense and foreign affairs remained outside its control, while the Governor General retained special control over the other subjects. The Governor General and the governors were appointed by the British government and were to be responsible to it. In the provinces, local power was increased. Ministers responsible to the provincial assemblies were to control all the departments of provincial administration. But the governors were given special powers. They could veto legislative action and legislate their own. Moreover, they retained full control over the civil service and the police. The act could not satisfy the nationalist aspiration, for both political and economic power continued to be concentrated in the hands of the British government. Foreign rule was to continue as before. Only a few popularly elected ministers were to be added to the structure of British administration. In India, the Congress condemned the act as totally disappointing. The federal part of the act was never introduced, but the provincial part was soon put into operation. Bitterly opposed to the act though the Congress was, it decided to contest the elections under the new Act of 1935. Though it was declared with the declared aim of showing how unpopular the act was, the whirlwind election campaign of the Congress met with a massive popular response, even though Gandhiji did not address a single election meeting. The elections held in February 1937 conclusively demonstrated that a large majority of Indian people supported the Congress, which swept the polls in most of the provinces. Congress ministries were formed in July 1937 and 7 out of 11 provinces. Later, Congress formed coalition governments in 2 others. Only Bengal and Punjab had non-Congress ministers. Punjab was ruled by Unionist Party and Bengal by a coalition of Rakshak Praja Party and the Muslim League. The Congress ministries could obviously not change the basically imperialist character of British administration. In India, they failed to introduce a radical era. But they did try to improve the condition of the people within the narrow limits of the powers given to them under the Act of 1935. The Congress ministers reduced their own salaries drastically to Rs 500 per month. Most of them travelled second or third class on the railways. They set up new standards of honesty and public service. They undertook positive measures in several fields. They promoted civil liberties, repealed restrictions on the press and radical organizations, permitted trade unions and Kisan organizations to function and grow, curbed the powers of the police, and released political prisoners, including a large number of revolutionary terrorists. They passed agrarian legislation dealing with tenancy rights, security of tenure, rent reduction, relief and protection to peasant debtors. Trade unions felt freer and were able to win wage increases for workers. The Congress governments also introduced prohibition in selected areas, undertook Harijan uplift, and paid greater attention to primary, higher and technical education and public health. Support was given to khadi and other village industries. Modern industries too were encouraged. One of the major achievements of the Congress ministries was their firm handling on communal rights. The largest gain was psychological. People felt as if they were breathing air of victory and self government. For was it not a great achievement that men who were in prison till the other day were now ruling in the Secretariat? The period between 1935 and 1939 witnessed several other important political developments, which in a way marked a new turn in the nationalist movement and the Congress. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Do stay and remain for the next video in which we discuss the growth of socialist ideas. Do share and subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Thank you and all the best for your exams.